Tony Stark needs the X-Men's greatest asset in order to create his next Iron Man armor, but will that armor become something that is a whole problem even the Avengers aren't equipped to stop should Iron Man go rogue? What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. All right, today's video, I'm gonna be talking about Invincible Iron Man number 11, written by Jerry Duggan, with art by Andrea DeVito, and color by Brian Valenza. The thing that I feel was the most important here in this issue is we have been building slowly towards Iron Man creating his next Iron Man armor, the Mark 72, which is going to be the first Iron Man armor that Tony Stark creates after Fei Long has filed a cease and desist order against him, saying he can no longer use the Iron Man IP or any of the Iron Man armors. That said, we know Fei Long is actively trying to seek out the very same Mysterium that Iron Man is seeking to try and make this armor a reality. Now, I'll go ahead and tell you right now, we don't see the armor in this issue. I'm just going to put this out here right now. You do not see the Mark 72 armor in this issue. The only armor you see Iron Man wielding in this issue is the Mark Nil, which is his stealth armor, which for one is not built for combat, despite the fact that he typically winds up using it for combat, not just here in this issue, but we've seen it in previous Invincible Iron Man issues since it was introduced, and we've also seen it over on the Ms. Marvel, the New Mutant side of things, as well as the current running Avengers title. But the thing that I thought was pretty cool here is while Iron Man is able to infiltrate Krakoa and steal the cache of Mysterium inside of the White Palace, after a little struggle with one of Orcus's great apes, he is able to get that back to the Hellfire Club and secretly work on this new armor. And what he creates is something that is very reminiscent of Marvel's yesteryear. For those of you unfamiliar with the original Thor comics from back in the day, the old Journey into Mystery series, Thor used to have a secret identity of Donald Blake. Donald Blake was just a normal human, and he had a bad limp, and he always used a walking cane, and he would take that cane, and whenever he tapped it on the ground, he would become Thor. Iron Man is taking a page out of Thor's playbook, because what he has created is a cane of his own, a cane made of Mysterium, and Tony has already sought out one of his fellow Avengers as well as some other allies in the Marvel Comics universe to help him determine whether or not this new armor is going to be a whole problem for Orcus. What I think he winds up learning is that it's not just going to be a problem for Orcus, it's also going to wind up being a problem for everyone in the Marvel Comics universe should Tony ever break bad. I say that because the first person he takes the cane to is Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers. Now, he's doing this because Carol Danvers, and this is something that I think a lot of people don't want to admit to themselves, but Carol Danvers is one of the strongest people in the Marvel Comics universe. It is said that her resting strength is easily over 100 tons. When I say resting strength, I mean just her not even trying terribly hard. Even before she became Captain Marvel, she was able to knock the Sentry on his ass, and more recently, she's been able to hold up the weight of a Celestial. Granted, the Celestial was dead, but I think that actually would have made it even more heavy. And if Captain Marvel cannot bend Iron Man's Mysterium cane, well, I think that tells you just how strong this metal is. This is something Tony probably wished he had when he was fighting against Captain Marvel during Civil War II. He also takes the cane to Doctor Strange. This particular part I feel like is information that we already knew about Mysterium. We already know that Mysterium has anti-magic properties within it that is able to completely negate magic on pretty much every level. We've seen this over on Steve Orlando's Scarlet Witch side of things, more specifically, where Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch, was not even able to cast magic in and around the Mysterium. And as a matter of fact, she even got into a fight with a villain during that series who wore armor made out of Mysterium, and she was completely incapable of using magic on that person. And Doctor Strange confirms it once again in this issue. He tries to use every spell humanly possible that he has at his disposal, even as he says a simple levitation spell, none of it works on the cane. Even a spell he used that would have atomized anything else, it does not work. And this is what actually gives Doctor Strange pause when it comes to this cane because he recognizes what Tony has done. Tony has created something that, should it fall into the wrong hands, or if Tony were to ever break bad, Tony would be virtually unstoppable. He would literally give new meaning to the Invincible Iron Man. Not only that, he also takes it to his old pal Spider-Man. For those wondering why he's taking this to Spider-Man, why is he using Spider-Man to help him test this? What is Spider-Man gonna do? If Captain Marvel couldn't bend the cane and Doctor Strange couldn't cast magic on it, was he gonna check to see if Spider-Man can't web it? No, that's actually not what he's gonna do. He's brought Spider-Man in for one reason, and one reason only. And I'm gonna give you a moment to take a guess as to what that reason is while I tell you to click that subscribe button. All I'm asking is one measly subscribe from you. That's it. You don't even have to subscribe twice. Just subscribe one time. If you enjoy this content, you want to see more videos like this, me breaking down comics like Invincible Iron Man, as well as the X-Men comics and other comics from Marvel and DC, go ahead, do it. I post new videos throughout the week. Plus, I live stream every Saturday. If you click that subscribe button and tap that notification bell, you won't miss any of it. And also, while you're here, because clearly I've been talking for 12 minutes now, at least as far as I'm looking at the timer on the recording right now, and yeah, if you're still here by this point, clearly you like the video a little bit, so go ahead, tap that like button. Anyway, the reason why Iron Man is asking for Spider-Man's help is because Spider-Man has a little ability you may have heard of called Spider Sense. And what he's trying to figure out is whether or not Spider-Man's Spider Sense is triggered by the Mysterio Man. We learn a very shocking thing about Spider-Man's Spider Sense regarding that cane. Much like Venom and Carnage don't trigger Spider-Man's Spider Sense, this cane doesn't trigger it either. Tony tells Spider-Man to close his eyes, and when Spider-Man does, he swings the cane at his kneecaps, and Spider-Man does not move. He literally ends up taking the full brunt of the cane to the knee. And not only that, he had no clue it was coming. There was no warning whatsoever. Now, one could make the argument that, well, technically Iron Man's a friend, and of course, you know, sometimes Spider-Man's Spider Sense is contextual. Sometimes it doesn't recognize people who are technically friendly to Spider-Man under normal circumstances. It doesn't recognize him as being actual threats to him. And honestly, the credibility in that ideology, it waxes and wanes with the phases of the moon and whoever is writing Spider-Man at the time. But the idea here is that even Spider-Man is surprised that this did not trigger his Spider Sense. And that, I think, is a better litmus test of whether or not the idea that Tony being friendly had anything to do with it. Spidey believes his Spider Sense should have triggered the moment that Tony went to swing at him, and it doesn't. This means not only does Iron Man now have a suit of armor that is so powerful, not even Captain Marvel can put a dent in it, that is so powerful that not even the Sorcerer Supreme himself, Doctor Strange, can cast a spell on it. Not even Spider-Man's uncanny ability to detect danger before it happens means that that armor is, for all intents and purposes, detection proof, meaning that if it can circumvent Spider-Man's Spider Sense, it can very likely circumvent the detection abilities of other things in the Marvel Comics universe. If Iron Man, for whatever reason, loses this armor, or heaven forbid, Kingpin gets his hands on this technology, and mark my words, he's probably going to get his hands on this technology, it would be bad news for everyone. And I will tell you right now, it doesn't even require speculation. Worst case scenario, Iron Man goes up against Orcus and gets captured, and Fei Long gets his hands on this technology. I know I used Tony Stark potentially breaking bad as the hook for this video, but that's not even the worst part of it. If Orcus got their hands on this, it would actually be infinitely worse. Imagine every Orcus soldier, every Sentinel having access to tech like what Iron Man just created. Iron Man, in one fell swoop, has created potentially the best and worst armor ever made. But anyway, that's everything I really wanted to talk about here with Invincible Iron Man number 11. I'm very excited to see what Tony is going to be able to do with this. He is already angling to take on Orcus and all their Sentinels with this, and he's already put the bug in the ear, you know, pun intended, with Spider-Man to keep an eye out, because he says himself, when he's ready to attack Orcus, everyone is going to know what he's doing, and everyone will know exactly what to do themselves. We know the Avengers are going to be on board. We know the Fantastic Four are going to be on board. We know the Spider-Man is going to be on board. We know that a lot of other characters in the Marvel Comics universe who are already not messing with Orcus on that level, they are already going to be in on what Tony is doing, and man, I can't wait to see it. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, do the YouTube thing, hit that subscribe button, and make sure you tap that notification bell. That way you don't miss out on anything. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, and until next time, let me know what you thought about Invincible Iron Man number 11. Keep it plus ultra and sound off in the comments.